Hello. We're sharing a little fire ceremony with you on a very, very stormy afternoon. It's been just kind of raining all day. And I thought it would be really fun to welcome in the new year with some messages that have been coming through me, and to share a shamanic fire ceremony, which we haven't done for a while. We would love to be in the teepee, but the teepee canvas has been out. It's no more, waiting for a new one, and also it's really rainy and stormy, and so it's kind of nice to just be inside by the fire, enjoying the nice little fire. Yeah, it's good stuff, huh? So, we're going to start with the fire ceremony, and then we will move into some channel messages that have been coming through for me that I feel like would also really support other people as well. And so let's move into that, but let's go ahead and open sacred space because that's what we do around here when we're going to have ceremony. So, my water. We're going to call in the directions like we do. We welcome the winds of the south, Sachamama, great serpent, beautiful water boy, come. Wrap us in your coils of light. Teach us to shed the past the way that you shed your skin, to live softly, heart to heart, belly to belly, on our Mother Earth. Come, teach us the beauty way. Aho. We welcome the winds of the west. O Tarango, Sister Mother Jaguar, come. Protect our medicine space. Show us a way of peace, courage, impeccability, integrity, the path of the luminous warriors. And you who walks the rainbow bridge between worlds, show us we are more than our bodies. Show us the way beyond death. Aho. We welcome the winds of the north. Sewa Kinti, Royal Hummingbird, great journey, come. Teach us your ways, the ways of traveling thousands of miles without a plan and perfect faith, of tasting only the sweetest nectars of life. Grandmothers, grandfathers, ancient ones, come. Warm your hands by our fires, the fires of our hearts, our dreams, our desire, our destiny, our passion. We honor all the generations that have ever been and all of those to come, our children's children. We welcome the winds of the east, Atanapachin, great eagle and condor. Come to us from the place of the rising sun. Take us under your wings. Show us a view of the Yapanapakunas, the sacred mountains that we dare only to dream of. Teach us to fly and soar with our own wings, wing to wing, with great spirit. We are living in these times of phenomenal transformation. The times of prophecy when eagle and condor would be seen flying wing to wing with one another in the beautiful skies. And these times are here now. We're all feeling them. We're feeling the craziness, the chaos. But these are the times of much promise and much fruit. And we are growing. We are expanding. We are learning to fly with our own wings. It's very exciting. Beautiful Pachamama, Mother Earth, sweet Gaia, original goddess. We have gathered for the healing of all your children, stone people, plant people, standing people, four-legged, two-legged, cutie crawlies, the winged ones, all our cherished relations. We are so honored to be one in the web of life and to serve as channels for source energy here on Earth for the greater good of all. Auntie Tata, Grandfather Sun, Mama Kia, Grandmother Moon, Atun Cheska, beautiful star family, Yapanapakunas, the sacred mountains, Tixi Tesawera Kocha, great spirit, great mystery. You are known by 1,000 names, but are the unnameable one. We are so honored to sing and dance a song of life another day in these beautiful earth suits to serve as channels for source energy here on Earth. offer these words of prayer in the language of the ancestors of this land, the Washishu. Also, the lands, our ancestors are also the new moon. We honor all the ancient ones of all the continents, all the ancient wisdom keepers, and all the lineages that are still alive and well. We pray. Umanawi Takesha, Daba Opatangli Damalosan, Poliza Emlet the Tomosha, the Tongli Emlet Matsuktamama, Washishulele, Miigalam Shamway, the Great Katikikialo, Gatsukakomanga Oida, Miigalam Shamway, Nawa, Nintashu, Baba Amak, El Kuu, Meluide, Damalosan Mila, the Tomosha, Patsi Damali, Daily Galakatli, that's again. Miigalam Shamway, Washishuide, Hanla, Titanwa, Tiwana, Kapawali. Great Spirit, great mystery creator. We thank you for bringing our hearts together, for giving us this spaciousness to be able to share in this day. We pray that all be healed and served by the spirit of this transmission that's coming through, by this ceremony, in ways that honor the sovereignty of all of life. May I be a clear channel, and may the ancestors of these lands and of all the lands also receive healing from all of the atrocities of the past, so we may all come together in all of the timelines to be healed and to rise up in our sovereignty, all taking care of one another and taking care of our earth as we enter this new paradigm. So, in our ceremony, we like to offer some prayers to the fire, and we'll do that today. I will be your proxy for that, to feed the fire with your prayers. And this will work for those who listen at any time. Actually, this may be something that you want to revisit from time to time. But first, I'd like for us all to just kind of go within and to ponder for a moment. Maybe taking a couple of nice deep breaths with our hands to our hearts. Good. And feel into this past year or several years. Really, it's been very tumultuous for 4 full years, at least. But feeling into these years, what do we have to celebrate? What have we learned? How have we grown? What have we accomplished? How have we transformed? Just letting yourself feel into the blessings that have come. Beautiful. And if you feel called, these are some queries that you could also take into meditation. So also feeling into what is it that you need to release of this year? There's probably some things that didn't go quite so well, or didn't feel quite right in our bodies. What are some of the things that we feel called to leave behind in 2024? We may want to go a little deeper into what belief systems have failed us, especially the self-limiting ones about ourselves. What habits or patterns have been coming up that we feel we're ready to really be done with finally, once and for all? Who and what feels displaced in your life now? What have you grown beyond? Where have you been sabotaging yourself? Part of the human condition. So feel into all of the things that you feel called to let go of. I'm going to hold this stick up to capture all of your release prayers. We call this a death arrow in our tradition. And it's an offering we're going to give to the fire, holding all of the prayers of what we are here to release. Giving them to the fire, allowing the fire to transmute our energies. Really noticing over the next couple of weeks how synchronicity aligns to support us and help us choose our own empowerment. So I'm going to give you a few moments to just blow into it. Beautiful. I'm going to open the damn fire. It's going to be loud for a minute. And there go our prayers. We're going to do some more prayers. Ready? Good. Good, good, good. Okay, have another one. Bigger stick for our bigger prayers. Are you ready? So feel into what you're wanting to embrace and call in for your new year. What are your dreams and desires? What are your plans and visions? We're going to talk a little bit about destiny a little bit later. And we may not have a strong sense of what that is in these times of such phenomenal change. But just feel into the energies of your destiny, how you feel that would feel in your heart, whatever little inklings of that you have, and let yourself blow those energies into this, what we call a spirit arrow, the things that we're calling in. Just feel into your heart all the things, the joy, the abundance, love, good medicine. There you go. There we go. Just keep blowing. Feeling into your dreams and who do you need to be? What do your hearts call you to create? How may you dream bigger even in the sea of uncertainty? Yeah, and just keep blowing. You don't even have to have all the thoughts just right, but just letting yourself blow in the prayers to allow yourself to be guided and supported into the most magnificent life and destiny that is meant for you and that is reaching for you. And to know with absolute certainty that you are worthy of all of your dreams come true. Nice. Good job. I'm going to offer those to the fire as well. Beautiful. And now we have all of our wonderful dreams in the fire, and just trusting that Spirit will be guiding us over the next couple of weeks, guiding us in how to choose our yeses and our nos, how to really consciously align with the life of our dreams, rather than defaulting on the things that have been undoing us in the past. And no guilt or shame there. It's just a part of the human condition that we tend to stay in our grooves and not wanting to get out of them all the time. So, and sometimes we know that there's a bigger choice that is meant for us, that there is a bigger destiny that is calling for us. And sometimes it is just for us to get out of our own way. And that, in a lot of ways, just going across the calendar from one year to the next is kind of an arbitrary thing, right? It's not real, and yet in the collective consciousness, there is so much energy that goes into it, and so just knowing that we can borrow on that momentum and on that way of the collective showing up, as kind of honoring that every day we kind of close the door behind us, and every day we open up a new door to walk through. And so, as I like to say, each day a new beginning. And so we always have a new opportunity to start over again, to start fresh, to align more consciously with who we want to be and who we're becoming. And I always say too that all of our healing contributes to the healing of all it is. So all the time that we take in ceremony, in prayer, in meditation, in our healing practices, it all contributes to help us to become a more healed and whole person as we navigate the world, which helps to amplify the gifts that we are to share with the world. And at the same time, we may have some prayers that we have for Earth and for our world. And I got a really big stick. So this is our Pachamama stick today. And so I just wanted to offer this, whatever prayers you have for our world, we're gonna hold this stick and blow those into. So prayers for our Pachamama might be for her health and well-being, for humanity to awaken to ways of honoring her more fully by creating earth-honoring technologies and letting go of some of those who have ravished her. They could include social justice, equality, and more heart consciousness amongst all people, more acceptance of all of our diversity. Be for more heart consciousness in all the ways. People caring for one another, for the earth, and for all our relations, including all the plants and the animals and everyone else with whom we share the planet. Could be for the process that we're in, for the ease of the expansion of consciousness and the infiltration of more and more spiritual energies on our planet Earth that are supporting us now. Feeling into the depth of your heart, everyone blowing in. all of the prayers for our earth and for our awakening. Place these in there too. So just taking a moment to feel into our hearts, feel into the power of our prayers. Honoring ourselves and everyone else who is partaking of ceremony at this time in order to come into empowerment. There we go. Our prayers are cooking. Way to go, everyone. Good job. Good ceremony. And while we're still in the ceremonial mode, I felt called to share a few messages that I've been channeling through, just for all of us to consider. They don't have to resonate with everyone. As always, we have our own sovereignty to choose what our truth is. And I just felt really called to honor the deep work that we've all been doing for decades, really, but like it's been amplified so much the last several years. And it's been incredibly intense. Our world is more and more complex and really like seemingly unstable, which is really, really hard on our nervous systems to navigate. And we're learning so much about like the shadows that we carry, all the things in the subconscious that we don't particularly want to face. But we're always getting messages through our fears or through our conflict with other people, through habits that we fall back into that help us to numb out. These just alert us to the deeper truths of things that are like kind of like festering underneath the surface of our consciousness and that are here to be healed now. Whenever these things come up, it makes it hard for us to feel like we can survive this world or like let alone even thrive in it. But it's so important to really honor that through the process, we've also come so much in tap with our inner truth, with our own authenticity, getting to know how strong we are, how resilient we are, how much adversity we can face. And by now we're learning a lot about how to regulate our nervous systems, like the power of healthy nutrition and exercise and nature time, grounding. Like there's so many things that we can do to really honor our nervous systems at this time so that we can navigate the ups and downs and the highs and lows of life without getting undone by, whatever we see on the news or whatever we see on social media and in the world. I feel like destiny, I wanted to talk about that a little bit more. In our tradition, we talk a lot about destiny, and we clear a lot of energies so that we can come up more into alignment with destiny. And we always say that everybody has a fate or a future, but not everybody has a destiny. And that's because it takes consciousness to choose one and to see the bigger potential for our lives and to stay aligned with choices that support that, as opposed to the slumber that we're encouraged to be in this world. And I know that a lot of people come to me, clients, students, people, they just share that they don't really know where they're going. And I know it's really, really hard to see that. Like the world is changing so quickly right now. It's really challenging to forecast things. And I totally get that. I totally see that. But when I look back on my 60 decades of life and my own evolution in consciousness, what I notice is that I only can see so far out, and that is absolutely okay. That we can just accept that maybe we're shown, like we feel passionate and heart led to go in a certain way, and so we start taking those steps, and then the portals start opening, and then we get to see a little bit further down the path. And I know it can be a little bit frustrating because sometimes we feel called to take a step in a direction and we're not really sure what that will bring us, and we feel hesitant to change because, gosh darn it, our egos have kept us alive staying in this rut for a long time, so why should we challenge that, so our egos don't want to get out of those ruts, and that is perfectly understandable. They're here to help us survive, but we want more for our lives than that, right? We want to thrive. We want to enjoy like dreams and passion and and love, and we want to see this world go through the shift and become a more peaceful place, right? And so surviving isn't enough anymore. Like we're miserable this way, we're suffering this way if we're just stuck in that survival mode. And we want more for everyone. We want everyone to feel that sense of thriving. And so the only way to do that is step by step. It's like we can't make the giant leaps all the time. Sometimes they come, and sometimes we have the courage to take them. But it's really a step by step thing. And so when I look back at who I was 20 years ago, or 30 years ago, or 40 years ago, I did not have the consciousness to comprehend the person I am now. If I had known all those years ago who I would be and how I would be living and what I would create, I probably would have just lost myself in addictions, because I would have had no idea what the first step would be. And I would have been terrified. Not because it was bad, not because it was hard, but because I didn't have the consciousness to comprehend it. It was a complete mystery. And so I feel like it's more productive to download the next step than it is to download the huge big picture of what we're walking into. And so I don't know if you find solace in that, but I actually do, because when I think about the next 10 years, I'm like, oh my gosh, what's it going to be? And I probably can't comprehend it because I'm not seeing it yet. So yay, there's going to be more growth. That's exciting, right? Yeah, so another thing that was coming through was I feel like this will be a year, and I alluded a little bit to shadow work, to like feeling into our fears, our conflicts, our self-sabotaging behaviors and stuff like that. That's all part of like the shadow that we've been exploring for a long time, which I think is really, really important. Definitely was more activated this year in 2024 than it has been even in the past. So on an individual level, for me, I was doing lots of really deep shadow work. Also noticing it in my groups, and like how courageous it has been for us all to show up in that container and to continue to choose love and to keep reflecting on our own inner work so that we could show up as love. I think it's been just absolutely amazing year for that. I don't know if others can relate to that or not, but it's been incredible. I feel like this year, 2025, is going to be even more for emotional intelligence. And the pathway for that is really embracing whatever feelings and emotions come up in the moment, and being willing to sit with that and move that through our body, feel it really, really deeply and move it through. And I know some people have a hard time accessing those emotions, and some people get bowled over by them. And so I feel like it's like, for all of us to come into that middle space of really honoring and feeling and reflecting on our thoughts and feelings in ways that has a healthy balance to it. And I know for me, I grew up in a household where heavy emotions, any sadness or anger, was definitely demonized and punished harshly, and so it really became challenging for me to be able to access my emotions. And I feel like I've grown a lot in that, and I still have room for growth in that, but not being with my emotions has definitely led to some poor choices through my life, where I've tried to numb out, or where I've trusted people where I didn't honor my inner knowing that trust was not warranted, and where people didn't have my best interests at heart, or didn't know how to show up for me. And so, there's a lot of painful things that can happen from that. And of course, there's all the spiritual messaging of not being too emotional. If we're too emotional, or if our emotions aren't pleasant, then we're probably messing up the law of attraction, which I think is the law of attraction exists, and it is there, but like the way people practice it is often like kind of out of alignment, I feel, and can do more harm than good. So I know I've talked about that a lot, but in some venues, but I think it's really important for us to come into that healthy balance, and for me to allow myself to be able to feel all the things, because our emotions are also really connected with the centers that allow for intuition and creativity to come through. And I really feel like this year will be one where intuition, even more than before, will be really, really important. I feel like the change process is going to be even more amplified and intensified. And it's going to be really important to access our intuitive centers to the best degree that we can, in order to find our compass as we go, to find those step by step pieces that help us to align with our destiny. Yeah. So I feel like in this year to come, there will be a lot of doors that close for a lot of us, and much needed, even if we don't acknowledge it at the time. But there will also be so many portals that open into new possibilities, new experiences, new mysteries to ponder. And I feel like it's really important to honor that our emotions guide our way into all of it, into the hard things that we may need to let go of, and the beautiful things that we may need to embrace, even if it challenges us. I know I was called to, even though I lost Sun Bear, my beautiful beloved old man companion, poor paw companion, in January, which was absolutely devastating. And I thought I would take at least a year before I would get another dog. Well, I ended up with 2 this year. A young one who was a rescue, and a puppy, which I thought, no way am I ready for a puppy. Well, I can tell you what, abundance can be super messy. So it's really kind of rocked my world as far as trying to take care of all of the things I've committed to, and trying to create like a stable teaching environment or healing environment when I have like these little rascals bouncing off the walls all over the place. I'm like, wow, what did I sign up for? But it's been amazing. It's been really amazing. And like all the work with them is an investment in the future. And there's some days where I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can do this, but it's been absolutely perfect experience all the way around. So opening to the wonders of the universe can be really messy. Sorry, spoiler alert. So what else? Along those same lines, I feel called to share that it could be really important this year to really notice all the people, places, events, synchronicities, opportunities, anything that makes our heart flutter. And that may be flutter, like flutters of fear, but also flutters of anticipation and excitement. And there's like a very fine line between, fear and excitement in our body, how we feel it in our body. So we don't necessarily want to run away from fear. I know. But yeah, that sometimes is the portal to like the biggest creations that we can possibly embrace and put out into the world, and to the really large experiences that we may feel called to create. Yeah, so let our hearts flutter, let our hearts guide us, and know that our hearts do not let us down, which is really cool, right? It's really cool. Yeah, and we have the right stuff. We have everything we need, and we are worthy. We are worthy of all our dreams. We're worthy of our desires. We're worthy of our passions. We're worthy of our destiny. And we have to know that just by virtue of being human, of being conscious creators in this world. We're worthy. Absolutely 100%. Mm-hmm. Another theme that's coming up is generosity, a year of generosity. And now I know so many of us are natural givers, and this is like, oh yeah, got this. This is going to be easy. But yeah, I mean, generosity is not always the easiest thing in the world. For one thing, we need to be mindful of like being generous with ourselves. Sometimes we can get into a pattern of overgiving to the point where we're depleted, and then we can't show up with as much integrity as we really want to show up with. I know I do that from time to time still. So I always have to remember to really take care of myself through like my morning rituals that help me prepare for the day, my connection with nature and meditation and journaling and all those things that help keep me balanced. That's really, really important. And so we have to be able to give to ourselves and, rest, renewal, all of that stuff. We also may have to open up to more opportunities to receive. Yeah. And that could be a lot trickier for some of us to ask for help or to receive help. I know that is not one of my strong suits. Definitely a unique challenge. And I also find that even for givers, it can be harder to show up when our own scarcity is challenged. And so in our world, as we experience the deeper shift and things are changing, shifting, even crumbling some of our structures, we may notice that it's a lot harder for us to feel like we have enough and we are enough to be able to continue to keep on giving, even when we're worried about our own basic survival needs. And so faith comes into play a lot in that. And from these many years of being an entrepreneur, I've ridden so many highs and lows, and sometimes I'm wondering like, how am I going to make it another month? Or sometimes I'm like flowing and it's just like all wonderful. And going through all of those cycles, it can be really hard to sometimes know that I have enough, I am enough, and it's all going to be okay. I'm going to make it through. And so that's part of it too, and part of that helps us to transmute that me first thinking and come more into unity consciousness. And so I feel like that is such an important part that is playing out in the broader context of scarcity of all the resources that we're feeling for Earth and for our financial well-being. But until everyone's needs are met, we're not really thriving, none of us. And so how do we factor that into our own evolution in this world? At the same time, I know that I'm a natural codependent. And so when I am supporting and being generous with other people, I always have to be mindful of doing that in a way that empowers them rather than disempowers them. And so there's that caveat as well. And I feel it's also really important to note that we don't all have to be called to the same expression of generosity. And so some of us will be called to environmental advocacy, some to social justice, some to healing or teaching, or to creative arts or writing. There's just so many ways that we may show up, like for children or youth or animals or elders, or there's infinite expressions, and we can't all show up for all of it, right? And so it's important to know that we can follow our heart and our gifts and talents, our abilities, and show up the way that we know we are called to show up, and then really allow for that web that we all co-create together, where we cover all the bases, but we do it from a space of our own centeredness, where we're contributing to the whole of that web of support that supports the shift in consciousness on Earth, where we each are playing our own part and doing it with our whole heart. And ultimately that makes us more than the sum of our parts. And which is a really beautiful thing. So there's some things I am really not good at, and there's some other things that I do excel at. And so I have to be content in knowing that I'm doing my part by following my heart, and I can borrow from my strengths, and I don't always have to tend to my weaknesses. Somebody else could do all those other pieces, and I can be really, really grateful for that. Yeah, and we're all enriched by the magnitude of the offerings that we bring to the world collectively, which is so amazing. So if I were to distill down the gifts of the year to come, they would be this. The process of embodying, one, our sovereignty, which is taking full responsibility for our lives, our thoughts, our words, our actions, all of our experiences, the quality of our relationships, all of it. So that's big work right there. Also embodying our dignity, and I've mentioned this a couple of times today, but acknowledging our inherent worth for living in abundance. That worthiness piece is so huge, and I've been doing, like, this last 5 years has been like the deepest dive into that healing. I thought, oh, that I've done that my whole life. It's like, oh no, there were like so many more layers and complexities to it. And so I think I'm almost on the other side, but not quite all the way. I'm still working. So also embodying our humility, seeing the divinity within ourselves and within all life, seeing us all in our beautiful equality and diversity. So humility. And also embodying integrity, really living our truth as we speak it, so we walk it. Yeah, and it's so important. I mean, like, the integrity police have been really, really alive the last several years. People are getting thrown under the curb, like, left and right. So, like, this is a really important time to really stand in our truth and our wisdom and be who we really are. And also for embodying our destiny, as I mentioned, dancing deeper into that step by step, even if we don't see the big picture. There's so many gifts that we are receiving that are supporting us that are beyond our comprehension, and just trusting that. So that's really cool. And wrapping it up with a few more tips. Okay. So one is, notice how manipulative the media is. Notice how manipulative all those memes are. So we're like sound biting our reality in ways that are really, really distorting it. So wherever we're getting our messages from, much of the polarization comes from receiving completely different messages depending on whatever media streams we are opening ourselves up to. And that's why we don't seem to be able to agree on anything, because we're not hearing and receiving the same messages. So just notice how manipulative it is, and finding our sovereignty within that. What is true for us in our hearts? How does this information land for me? How does it feel in my body? How does it empower me, and how does it disempower me? And I feel like so much of this year will be like wiping away the illusions that we have been living with, and including like the allegiances and all of it. Like what have we made up about our world, and what is actually true? It may be really painful to face some of the things that we've been carrying around as truth. So yeah, there are huge opportunities to expand our consciousness, but first we have to let go of the idea of believing everything we think. So even aside from the media, we have all this programming that is going on underneath the surface of us, and we may have stories about what's happening in the world, or what like this other person is doing or thinking, or all the things, but we're making up stories in our minds all the time. That's what we're meant to do, right? It's like all these stories. But really, like, our consciousness expands when we stop believing all that nonsense that is purely made up, and start coming into awareness of how much we do make up and how much we actually don't know. And if you are interested in learning more about that, or have been noticing how many of your thought patterns are erroneous, you may want to look at Byron Katie's The Work, or her book Loving What Is. And I found it's like a really powerful tool to help us to decipher all those messages that we come up with, and that we respond to emotionally and sometimes violently, and that aren't even true. How much kinder our world would be if we quit listening to our minds. Really, seriously. So also, we can work towards our dreams, and it's okay to really dream big, but also honor the foundation that we already have. It's not like we have to throw everything out and walk out of one life and into another. We've already been guided step by step to be exactly where we are now. So we have certain things in our world that are really beautiful for us. We have beauty and love and joy in our lives. We have people who love us. We have experiences that we relish and really enjoy sharing. And we also have some things that are not working so well. And so that emotional intelligence will tell us which is which. And we can make decisions based on that, so that we can step into more empowerment. But honoring the foundation that we've already built. We don't have to throw it away. And also noticing the opportunities that arise in the chaos. So I feel like as we start experiencing this world and the expansion of artificial intelligence and transhumanism, we will be faced with a lot of different decisions about how we may honor our humanity or not. And I know for me, like, I've resisted being in a body most of my life, because I've been either in my mind or in the ethers, right? But what I'm coming to realize is like how beautiful this experience of having a body and being on Earth at this time really is, and how much embracing that and honoring that means staying true to the integrity of what health means for me. And that's not necessarily like the quick answer of a pharmaceutical solution. Like when I went through heart failure a few years ago, I did need to have Western medicine in order to be able to survive that. But then coming into like the deeper work, and as soon as I could manage to walk for 10 minutes, I would walk for 10 minutes until I could walk for 15 minutes, and then walking for 15 minutes. And now like I'm a crazy woman in the gym, working with a personal trainer, and me on the hiking trails for 2, 3, 4 miles every single day, working the dogs and working my body, and like how important it is to do that deep work of honoring my humanness as I navigate all these choices. Like the quick answers aren't necessarily always the best, and sometimes they are. They help us to get through, like pharmaceuticals or surgical interventions or things like that. They're, sometimes those are the absolute best things we can possibly do on the path of recovery, but then also taking responsibility by doing the things that we know we need to do to take care of these vessels. To me, that is really super important. Not just for the vitality to have the energy to do the things that we want to do, but also to have the vibration to be able to operate at the level that we want to operate on. And so it's all of that. And so, yeah, so for me personally, I mentioned this a couple times on Facebook, but I feel like this year is a trust fall year for me. And so whenever I see babies do that, like, like I don't think I ever felt that safe in the world. Not as a child, not as a baby. But now as a time, I feel like I really don't know. I feel called to get out of my ruts. The dogs actually have been a huge lesson in that, and being able to expand my neuroplasticity, to get out of the ways that I usually do things and to really think in new ways and to be willing to create in new ways. And so I feel like the energies that have been coming through me have felt like fire and water at the same time. So like if I were to pour some water on the stove right now, it would just be making some sizzling noises, which would be the perfect expression. But also feeling like, sometimes life just kind of rolls us down the river and it's a little bit gentle for a few minutes so we can catch our breath and tap into our intuition and be able to gently navigate it. And then the next thing you know, it could be like a fire hose. And so we're getting sprayed with water, like really like full blast. And I feel like, we've been getting prepared for that kind of energy for a long time, and we've been in that energy for a really long time. So it's nothing that is really new for us and for me. And so I'm feeling a little trepidation at changing some things up. And specifically with Sky Spirit Shamans, I have my 7th and 8th families I use going through right now. And it has been a remarkably intense year for both of the IUs and for me. And so at the end of the year, I always go through a recapitulation. I give everything back to spirit. I don't know what's going to happen. We still have a day and a half left of this year. So anything could still change. But right now I'm not feeling called to offer an IU9 that is local. I was told that that it will actually be non-local, it'll be non-linear, and that I will be creating some new things that will bring in many of the shamanic teachings into a broader audience, and so that people can come in and taste different things. That I will be doing more on YouTube and maybe more webinars and distance learning and distance sessions where I have been working primarily locally for a while. And so we'll just see where all of that leads. That's what it's looking like right now. I'm terrified not to do what I have been doing, and also excited to explore some new things. And just kind of holding it all really loosely. So we'll see what happens. And just, trusting, walking in faith, because that's all really we can do. I know, I know it's a lot. So I welcome you to share any kind of dreams and visions you may have, or thoughts about the new year to come in the comments below. I would love to see what is coming through for you. I welcome you to like and share this video. I do hope to be creating more for you in the years to come, especially around shadow work. I'm feeling very called to go deeper into that and empowering everybody to be able to do that work for themselves. I found that is absolutely life-changing, not just for me, but for others too. And so I'm going to actually leave sacred space open and offer you the choice to leave it open in your space too. It will stay open for a couple of weeks and will really help to support you in integrating whatever healing and insights are meant to come through you, for you. And I do want to thank the archetypes of the four directions, the winds of the four directions, and Mother Earth and Father Sky, and to the power of our own hearts for coming together in this beautiful day, inviting all these energies to stay and support us all as we go forward. As always, you are all in all of my prayers and blessings, and in my heart always. And it's such an honor to be here with you today and to share the love and to share these insights that are coming through. Love you all so much.